Hi, my name is Nur Farhada binti Johar Arifin. I would like to present about non-destructive testing, which is rebound hammer and half-safe potentiometer. What is non-destructive testing? Non-destructive testing is a testing and analyze technique used by industry to evaluate the properties of a material component structure or system for characteristic differences or welding defect and discontinue without causing damage to the original part. First, we go to rebound hammer. What is rebound hammer? Rebound hammer test is a non-destructive testing method of concrete which provides a convenient and rapid indication of the compressive strength of the concrete. The rebound hammer is also called a Schmidt hammer that consists of a spring control mesh that slides on a plugger within a tubular housing. Objective of rebound hammer. First is to determine the compressive strength of the concrete by relating the rebound index and the compressive strength. And the second is to assess the uniformity of the concrete. Third, to assess the quality of the concrete based on the standard specification. And lastly, to relieve one concrete element with other in terms of the quality of the concrete. There are two main equipment of rebound hammer. First is rebound hammer and the second is grinding stone. Without wasting time, let me show you the procedure of rebound hammer. Before starting a test, the rebound hammer must be compared to the testing anvil to ensure the accurate finding. The testing surface should be smooth, dry and clean. In this case, I don't use grinding stones to smooth the surface because the surface is already smooth and dry. After making sure the surface is smooth, next mark the point using highlight, which the point of impact of rebound hammer on concrete surface should be at least 5 cm away from edge. In this case, I made two parts that consist of 9 points. Next, for taking a measurement, the rebound hammer should be held at the right angle to the surface of the concrete member. Push the rebound hammer to concrete sample when loud sound of tick is produced, the result of hammer being released. Press the lock button before release to ensure the value lock. The value can be read on the attached graph on rebound hammer, which will result in MPa. Don't forget to repeat the same process for the rest of the points. And the last step is record all the reading and the data into the pieces of paper for future references. Next, let's move to another testing, which is half-safe potentiometer. What is half-safe potentiometer? Half-safe potentiometer testing method is recommended for determining the likelihood of reinforcement corrosion, which is then used to determine how long reinforced concrete will last. Steel can undergo corrosion inspection using a variety of methods. Half-safe potential measurement is a well-known destructive technique for studying corrosion in steel. Half-safe potential is the most effective way to find corrosion activity in RC structure. Two objectives of half-safe potentiometer. First, potential vulnerability of element area to corrosion. Second is presence of corrosion. There are two main equipment in half-safe potentiometer. First is voltmeter, second is reference electrode. Next, apparatus of half-safe potentiometer. First is copper sulfate powder, second battery water, third spatula, and lastly is Erlenmeyer flask. Okay, let me show you the procedure of half-safe potentiometer. First thing first, all we need to do is measure the copper sulfate. Pour the dry copper sulfate powder into measuring cup using spatula. Then measure the dry copper sulfate powder using scale with an appropriate amount. Second step is measure the battery water. Pour the battery water into an luminary flask with an appropriate amount. Then mix the copper sulfate powder and battery water and slowly shake the solution using slow motion of hand routing for several seconds. Pour the solution into reference electrode and it's ready to be used. Before placing the reference electrode that contains saturated copper sulfate solution, it is important to identify the rebar location on the concrete sample. Then mark the concrete sample with 3 to 9 different locations. Before start the test, the reference point on the concrete sample need to be wet by using battery water. Then place the reference electrode on the reference point and started the testing. Don't forget to connect the voltmeter with reinforcement bar. Make sure the reinforcement bar is parallel with the concrete sample. And the last step is record all data on each reference point for future references. Repeat the same step on different points. That's all from me. Thank you for lending your ears to hear my explanation.